Good. How are you?
Good. Are you hosting today?
I am.
Oh, fun.
I don't know. I feel like I look blurry. Do I look blurry to you?
You look
No.
normal. Is your camera dirty?
No. I didn't sleep last night, so I'm just
Oh,
I think it's probably just like when your eyes are tired.
yeah.
But
No, I get that.
hmm yeah. So yours, let's see. How was the rest of your night last night?
It was good. We went to Maria's in Smithtown. It was
I
pretty
love
good. The staff, I feel like I've been there 3 times or 4 times. I feel like the staff are really nice, but
in Wisconsin.
yeah.
Yeah, they have good food.
Yeah, I didn't even get a drink. I wasn't really like in the mood to be out or like at a
Mm.
restaurant. But then we went to the Strong Island ice
Oh,
cream
the ice
place.
cream plates, yeah.
I like that place, and it's so cheap.
I've only been there once or twice.
It's right across from Swirls and Pearls.
Yeah. I have to I promised my dad I would bring him to Mickey's ice cream in St. James while he's staying with us. So
They have vegan ice cream there.
yes. He likes like cherry vanilla and like pecan something something
Aw,
something. So
that's
I
so
told
cute.
I told him
It's a
we'd
good
bring him.
flavor.
Yeah. So drag him around everywhere.
Mhm.
How's it been with the inquiries today?
A little slow, but I've just been like finding things to update or do. I gave someone resources, she had Medicare. There's a new inquiry for someone who it sounded like in a abusive relationship.
Hmm.
So I'll have to like see what's up with that.
Hi,
Um,
Patty. How are you? Patty, I don't think we've ever met. Have you ever been in Wednesday's group? You're on you're muted.
Wednesday's group? No, I haven't. I
Oh,
came
nice
in
to
on
meet you.
Monday.
I'm sorry?
I came in on Monday.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. I'm Karen.
Hi, Karen.
And that's Lindsay.
Hi,
Hi,
Lynn.
nice to meet you.
What practice are you from?
It's Life in Sight. I thought Carmen was going to be on too.
Where are you guys located?
In Hinsdale and Burr Ridge.
I'll let her know.
Where is that?
It's a west suburb of Chicago.
Okay. We're in New York.
Oh, okay.
How many providers are in your practice?
Um, Around 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Do you have one office?
2 offices.
Very cool. Are they close by each other or kind of
Yeah,
opposite?
they're about 10 minutes apart from each other.
Okay. And are you guys using PA or are you going to Admira?
Admira.
Admira? Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Chris, we haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, yeah, what's going on? Missed you
How
guys.
how is the thing that your business owner collaborated, the
Oh yeah,
event?
the conference thing, me and
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. There's a lot of people there and got to listen to a lot of people talk about different aspects of like running like a mental health practice. So I sat in on one on like marketing. And then I actually did like a question and answer on client care for like an hour,
Oh, that's so
and it was
cool.
kind of scary, but I think I did okay.
So you
Um,
have to answer, like, what kind of questions did they ask you?
yeah, people, I mean, there was like, I was surprised. There's a room full of people, and they were just asking me like just different things, different practices on like how to go about client care and like, you know, best ways to, best practices and things like that. So hopefully I gave some good answers. So yeah, I think Kelsey, who's like our clinical lead, she sat in there with me. And then Hannah, who helps with client care and does marketing, she sat in there with me too. Um, so yeah, it was I was definitely a little nervous, but it went well, I thought. But yeah.
That's so cool. And there were a lot of offices came, like a big turnout for the event.
Yeah, so this is the first year I had been there. Um, but they've been doing it for a while. So they have, because Casey, who owns the business, she also has like a consulting business for where she like consults different mental health practices and how to like systemize things and that stuff. So she has a pretty good client caseload, I guess. And yeah, there were some really cool people and got to see Barrett in person and talk with her. So that was really cool. Um, and yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
Mm,
So we did an open house a couple weeks ago. Not as big of scale as it sounds like your event.
mm,
But it was a lot of fun. We had a good turnout. We probably had like 15 to 20 other, providers and clinicians across Long Island that came, and
nice.
it was a lot, but it was fun, and
Mm,
networking and stuff like that. So we
right.
liked it. Yeah, so it was
Did,
good. So last week, Lindsay was on vacation, but me, Liam, and Amanda were in group together, and we had
mm,
talked about starting a June conversion contest where if you know kind of what your conversion percentage is, like what your target conversion percentage is, which I don't
mm.
know, does your manager give you your target for the month?
Yes, they do. They have not given it to me this month yet, so I'm
All right.
still waiting. But yeah.
All right. So then when they give it to you, add 3% to whatever your target is. So for our
Okay.
group and Liam's group, our targets were 30. So our conversion is going to be 33%, and Amanda's 50. So now she's 53%. And
Gotcha.
then, so whoever wins at the end of June, they'll get like a gift card or something to like Starbucks or something.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So we
down.
figured, yeah. So we figured we're going to have a contest and see who can win the greatest
Nice.
conversion percentage for the month of June. So we thought it would just be like a
Yeah.
fun little
Mhm.
contest.
Definitely. I love a
Yeah,
gift card.
exactly. Like who doesn't want caffeine, especially
Right.
dealing with clients all the time on the phone.
Yeah, it's a must for sure.
I know that was yesterday. That was my feeling. When the clinicians
Yeah.
was like, "I'll buy you fly," I was like, "No problem."
Yeah.
Um, so Lindsay was out all week, so I was covering her last week for intake, which was
Gotcha.
always
How was
I
that?
like. It was
Yeah.
good. It was consistently busy.
Hmm.
Um, One thing that I changed, which Lindsay and I have our meeting on Thursday, one thing I changed and I found this made a difference was, so we're an out of network office. And so we're
Hmm.
always dealing with out of network deductibles, blah, blah, blah. And instead
Right.
of telling the clients what the out of network deductible amount was, I stopped, I just omitted it and just said, you'll have an out of network deductible, but you should reach it in about 5 sessions. So you'll pay this reduced rate. And then once you meet it after the fifth session, you'll have a coinsurance of $45 or 30% or whatever. And it
Hmm.
seemed that the clients were more receptive to going out
hmm
of network because they didn't hear this bigger number, like $1,250 or
Right.
$500 deductible. So that was something I was going to talk about today in regards to whether or not, whoever was in the group, in network, out of network, and kind of how each office delivers the information of insurance and how,
hmm
like, when you get kind of a little bit of pushback, how like converting that client and things that we could say to kind of
Definitely.
show the value in that. So
Right.
um there were two clients like specifically that I like purposefully omitted the deductible and they both booked and it was both with like
Nice.
higher deductible insurances.
hmm
But when I left it out, they were kind of like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds great. So like I'll meet it in 6 sessions. I was like, yeah, about 6 sessions. They're like, great, sounds perfect. Like, no problem.
hmm
Let's go ahead and book it. So it was interesting how leaving out just the larger amount made it sound like a better financial decision for them because they weren't
Right.
focused on the larger amount.
Gotcha. Yeah, as opposed to like that 6 sessions, that doesn't seem that far away or that
Right.
much that expensive or anything. Yeah,
Because I
definitely.
feel like people hear like $1,200 or $1,000 and that's all they think of. They don't think of, well, we might bill like 300. So then, like I don't, people
hmm
don't understand how the billing works. So all they
hmm
think of is, I can't pay $1,200. Like I can't afford that, even though they're not technically paying that amount of money.
Right.
So we were kind of been
Yeah.
working like in the month of May, Lindsay made it a point to not email people their benefits, but rather email them to call her and let them know that she verified their benefits and then to get them on the phone to have a conversation with them.
hmm
And it, I mean, she had a great month, like with conversions,
hmm
like it was like 13%
Nice.
higher than it normally is.
Wow. Dang, that's a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought we could talk about that today. And we were also talking about last week, which Amanda and Liam aren't here, but like
Mhm.
how you guys run cancellation policies, because that's a big thing. Like, um, do you charge if someone doesn't show for an intake? Do the clinicians
Mhm.
charge for late cancellations or does your billing department charge? So I thought like we could kind of talk about that stuff and just kind
Yeah,
of get feedback from each other. So
definitely. Yeah.
do you want to do KPIs first and share some KPIs?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's see. I'll share my screen. I guess. I mean, if you guys do you guys want me to share my screen or you guys
You can just
um
tell us. You don't have to if you don't,
okay, yeah.
unless you want to. It's up to you. Whatever's
Nah,
easier.
it's fine. You guys are veterans here, so you're good. Uh so yeah, we're doing June 1st through the 7th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we had 24 new opportunities. 0 to the wait list so far. Right now we have 21 open opportunities, and we have booked 16 intakes, and 7 have been completed so far. And so that means we converted 7 to clients because that's when we can consider them converted. And then just mark 1 as lost from this month. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't booked anything from the wait list. I need to go through the wait list because there's a lot of very old ones on there from like last
Hmm.
year and last summer, and see if there's anybody I can get scheduled from that or just get off of that list. Um, but yeah, so it's been a bit slower so far, I'd say, just from we just got very behind from that conference because I was still like no one else was like doing client care. So it was like basically whenever I had downtime at that place, I had my laptop and I was, trying to do things, but it was hard. So they gave us a little bit of grace with that, obviously, knowing that, we were busy. But yeah, it's kind of just been catching up from that. And it's been, yeah, that's why I haven't been here the last couple weeks, just because I was just like last week I was just like in panic mode. I was like, I need to get I need to get these clients scheduled. Blades are piling up. And yeah, so we're finally like looking a lot better. I feel a lot better about things. But yeah, I just hate getting behind. And so yeah, feel much better so far.
I feel like it's like instant anxiety, like when you come in and you feel like you don't have
Oh
enough
yeah.
time in the
And
day
it's
when the
anxiety just like before you even go in, like the day before, like that Sunday or whatever. You're just dreading it.
it's, I know it's always crazy.
Yeah.
Do you use in PA, do you use the automatic reminder for people on the wait list if they're still interested or to
Mm,
reach out?
so we do not. That's probably something I should do. I use those reminders like just for what we have, on the current intake pipeline or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I've not done that with the wait list. Is that something you guys do?
We don't really have a big wait list, so it's
Mm,
easy for us to navigate through it. And Lindsay could speak some more about that. But I know that PA and Admira, you can set up after a certain period of time on the wait list an automatic
mm.
email that says like, hey, we haven't forgotten about you, are you still interested or something like that. So then people that respond back, to keep on. And then people that don't, you can just lose them for unresponsive or waitlist
Oh,
and
okay. So you're talking about like automated like reminders to the client
on the wait list. Yeah.
on the wait list. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I think we may have something set up. I'm not even sure. I'll have to like check into that. I feel like we might have, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Just to save time. So you don't have to call, or reach out to so many
Right.
people if you have such a big wait list.
Yeah. Yeah, I have like 38 on there right now. I counted today. Uh, but there's definitely like I was kind of just skimming through it, and there's probably a lot that I feel like they're not gonna respond, but just need to see if they do or not. And I
Linz, what
know
do
a
you
lot.
think? Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Go
sorry.
on.
I
No,
was
go
just
on.
gonna say, we accumulated a lot on the wait list like last summer because we were still in the process of getting credentialed with Medicare.
Mm.
So we had like a lot of people calling in about that, and then it just piled up. And then once we finally took forever to get that approved, and so yeah, that a lot of it's from that.
Linz, what do you think about the wait list and like remembering to check it and keeping it up
Yeah,
to date and so on?
I was just thinking about that today. It's hard sometimes because
Mhm.
if you're not actively looking at it all the time, like sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind, and I forget. And then I'm booking new appointments with new clients who are calling because it's like they're calling and the people on the wait list can easily be forgotten about. But also, it's hard to tell sometimes because you have to click on each person to know like what their availability is and like what they were coming in for originally. I wish there was just like an easier way to see their availability and like their support need without having to click on each one. So I could just scroll and be like, okay, this person might be a match for like this opening. Is there a way to do that on Admira the with like the new like almost filtering like oh this clinician has an opening on Mondays at 2. There's a person on the wait list who has availability because they're plugging in their availability on like a chart, right?
I'm pretty sure. I feel that's a good question. I know with active intakes that we are going to book, there's that matching system.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine we could use it for waitlisted people as well. But I'll find out you
Okay.
know, to see if I do know that a problem in PA was like if we wanted to generate a report, like how we like if you wanted to look at like the report view of the wait list, how none of the tags or information would come up. And I do know with Admira, they're going to fix that. So you can see the tags on like a list view.
Mhm.
So, but I'll find out about the waitlist match and to see if there's some type of like notification process, because
Yeah,
that would be really helpful.
yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
Like if something opens up to say like, oh, this person's a match. And I think it comes into where we've talked about before, if you have someone on the phone in real time and then you have releases from your clinicians, but someone's already on the phone, are you going to pause that person on the phone to check the wait list, or are you going to book that person that's in real time on the phone first, because you don't want to lose that converted client even though they're calling after people that have been sitting on the wait list for 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to navigate, who to address first, that client in real time or the waitlisted client. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's like an ongoing issue for all of our offices where we all kind of feel similarly, like what's best practice for that.
Right. Yeah, I definitely usually just book the one on the phone. Um, because yeah, you're kind of just not really thinking about the wait list at that time. But yeah, it's definitely a good question.
I'll find out from Amira.
And when are we
Kim.
switching over? The end of this month?
So our migration is going on now and it ends June 15th and then we start training next week.
Okay.
So, and then we can convert whenever we're done with training. So, but they extended the time to July 31st to allow all the practices enough time to learn the program, because it was initially for the end of June and I guess they realized that it just wasn't enough time. So we now have an extra X amount of weeks to do it. Chris, do you know when your migration is?
Yeah, I think it starts next week on Monday.
Okay.
Um, so then I guess after it's like a week long process or
It's,
two
yeah,
weeks,
like 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks. Okay. And then you would begin the training
Yeah, so after
after
they
that. Yeah.
migrate it, you should, so like I guess after the 15th, so I guess like the 16th, which is a Monday, we should be able to log in and see all of our personalized everything. And then we
Hmm.
start training on it. And then I guess they fix any glitches or issues that we might find. And then when you pick a live date, from like if your live date's going to be June 12th, when you log out June 11th, they'll convert all your active inquiries in overnight. So then June 12th, when you log in, you just log into Admira and PA is done. And then everything automatically loads into Admira. So everything's up to date from the inquiries that came in overnight.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it
Yeah,
seems
I think I'm excited. I think yeah, just from hearing them talk about it, it seems like it's going to be pretty awesome.
it seems like there's going to be a lot of extras that, where I feel like we've done a lot of workarounds with PA and the support team has always been extremely helpful, but it seems now like all of these extras are like the workarounds that just come with it and then some, like I
Mm,
love linking. We use therapy notes. So the linkage of Admira to therapy notes and all the information and everything going over and all that stuff. So then we're
mm,
really only working from one system and then it's pushing
mm.
everything into the other system, which is really cool.
Yeah, so as therapy notes, is that like your EHR
Hmm.
or okay,
Yeah. What do
gotcha.
you guys use?
We use Advanced MD.
Okay.
So I
I
know they
don't
said they
know.
are not like integrated with it yet, but I know they said they're going to be doing like more with other ones, but they I don't think they specifically said that, but hopefully, like, so that'd be
Hopefully they
great.
will.
Yeah,
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 because it seems like um whatever information you gather in Admira, you
mhm.
just click some button that and then it merges and it just pushes everything over into the EHR.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see. So we'll see how it goes. But
Right.
so we're looking forward to see
Hmm.
what it is. My boss is,
Right.
like, are you nervous? Are you this, are you that? I was like, we don't have a choice. Like, this is what it is. Like, we'll see, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I'm definitely nervous.
I mean, what I've learned over the years is, like you can't really make a mistake. Whatever you do that isn't correct, you could just fix it and then move on,
Hmm.
So
Right.
I used to get super nervous about transitions and new programs.
Hmm.
And after one EHR we tried prior to PA was a total disaster.
Really.
And yeah, after that, I kind of think that nothing could be as bad as what that was. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
like, it'll
always
be
good.
fine. Yeah. Like,
Right.
because that was a total disaster.
Really. Wow.
Yeah. So it was just, yeah, it was not good. But
Yeah.
so,
Can
all
only
right.
go up from there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, and on it, we liked PA, so it's not going to be any worse. It's only going to be better.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
with the transitional
Yeah.
support, it should be okay. So,
Mhm. And it looks kind of similar to PA, and like at least with the journeys and stuff, so that's good.
and it should be exactly what you have it customized to. So whatever your journeys are, however your business customized everything with all your automations, everything
Mhm.
should go in exactly how it is in PA. So whatever your email automations are, your confirmations,
Mhm.
however you personalized it, it should
Yeah.
look exactly the same.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I mean,
So yeah.
sounds great. So.
We were playing around with it. What I loved about it, and Lindsay as well, because we cross cover each other, which, if you need to talk to other people in your department, there's like an internal instant message for each client. So, like,
Oh
say
yeah.
you want to ask, like, Hannah or whoever, like, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 whatever, it's attached to that client. So it instant messages your coworker
Mhm.
with their file attached to it, so you don't have to go searching for the person. It's like right there.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. I mean, that'll just save so much time going back and forth and
Hmm.
make everyone's life easier, I think.
Yeah, so we'll see, but we'll let you know next week since we'll be training.
Cool.
um so while Lindsay was on vacation, we had 19 new opportunities, which was pretty on par for us. I booked 5 people. I was proud of myself.
Nice.
um 8 people got marked as lost. We didn't complete any intakes or convert. I think everybody in the first week was booked from the end of May, which is why nobody's completed
Did,
yet. And I didn't put anybody on the wait list. So it was a pretty good week. Um, I didn't really have, I felt it was consistently busy, but not too bad. But I did miss Lindsay and I'm happy that she's back.
Missed
yeah.
you
It's
too.
never fun working alone.
I know. I was like, oh. But so are
Are
you,
you guys in the
Chris?
same office?
No,
No. Okay. Gotcha.
no. So sometimes I'll go down to the South Shore and see her.
Mhm.
But
Nice.
typically and we have meetings every Thursday, but not in person. We Zoom. So,
Gotcha.
but I'm on the North Shore and she's on the South Shore. Um, but what I wanted to ask is what do because you guys are mostly in network, right?
Right. Yeah.
So do you find that clients, if they have deductibles, are hesitant to book in network, even though it's in network? Because no matter where they go, they're going to find that issue? Or, how do you?
Yeah. So definitely, definitely. So I mean, we accept Medicaid as well. So like, I usually don't have problems with that because it's free and they don't charge anything. But with like commercial insurance clients, definitely have a little bit more trouble with that. Especially if it's like you said, like a higher deductible. Sometimes it's like $7,000, and you're like, wow, that's and like I've even done it to where like I have like not even said that deductible, that really high number before, and just said like our contractor rate, which is like $91 for an appointment with like Anthem. And sometimes that can just be too much for the client at the time. So I've definitely have lost, schedules because of that, which is always annoying. But sometimes it kind of just depends on the client, I guess. Like sometimes it's just they're fine with that. It seems like they maybe ex already know or kind of expecting to pay, some money. Um, but yeah, I've definitely have had some fallback on that before.
Do you feel like a certain script when you talk to clients works better than a different script? Kind of like what you were saying, like if you don't say the deductible, but let them know about reduced fees, like that tends to help, or just hit or miss. Like it really just
Mm.
depends on the person that you talk to at the time.
Yeah, I mean a little bit of both. Uh I think there's been times where, I've kind of left out the high deductible number and said and just kind of, made it kind of vague, I guess. Like once you hit your deductible, it's gonna go down to like, you know, $18.24 or whatever it is. But yeah, so like sometimes that helps, for sure. But sometimes these clients like they definitely sometimes they know like all about their insurance and their deductible and yeah, so definitely can go either way.
Linz, what do you think? What's your experiences?
Um, it's hard because like with people who have high even in-network deductibles, like I just spoke with someone yesterday who had like a $7,000 in-network deductible. Because I was verifying her out-of-network benefits, but she didn't have any, so I was trying to give her resources, but it was like, even if I give her resources, she's probably not going to be able to afford any care. Which stinks. So like, I don't know what you can do in that situation. Like you offer an intern or say that like other practices like offer reduced session fees or like intern rates, but not everyone's okay with that. Like sometimes people want to see a licensed clinician, but their insurance is like their insurance coverage isn't great. I don't know, it's like tough. I always feel bad. I feel like I'm never doing enough in that situation.
And what do you think about out of network? Do you think it's like there's certain key phrases or words, or yeah, I guess even in network too. I mean, I can appreciate the $7,000 no matter where
Yeah.
you go. And if it's not an HSA plan where the businesses or
Yeah.
the job is helping pay for it. But do you
I
think there's like certain keywords and stuff? What are your thoughts?
I think I focus more on trying to get them to understand their benefits in comparison to like dancing around the lingo. Because I'll say what their deductible is, but then I'll explain what a deductible is and like how that applies to their plan and the estimate, like what their estimate would be for a session after the deductible is met. So I don't know. I also don't want people to like be confused and then they agree and then they're like blindsided because I feel like that has happened during my time here where like I didn't explain something well enough and then like people will call Alan with questions about their plan and I feel guilty about
Got
it.
the
So
biller.
I think I just want people to understand it more rather than like
Right.
being
Vague and not,
yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
it's
Salesy.
yeah, for sure. See, I used to work in mortgages and was on the phone all the time, so like that was like what we were taught. Um, so yeah, like it's a weird, it's a weird game you play.
Yeah.
So what do you think the fine line is between explaining enough to where somebody understands, or explaining enough where you're not over explaining, right? Because sometimes you can say something and no matter how many different ways you say it, that person's only going to hear what they want to hear no matter what, right?
Mhm.
But also selling, for lack of a better term, the value of what your clinicians and the business has to offer.
Yeah.
Right.
When people say it's too expensive, I say like, well, you are paying for like a specialty practice, like our clinicians are specifically experienced in working with XYZ and like we're a women-based practice. You can't want the most specific thing and the best level of care and not want to pay some kind of top dollar. Like, and what we offer is very reasonable for the services we provide. So, I don't know, not everyone will agree with that, but
Um, what was like the question again? I'm sorry, I forgot. It was like between the fine line of what was it?
Yeah, like what do you think the fine line is between explaining but not over explaining, but
Gotcha, yeah.
selling or sharing the value with what your business has to offer with the clinicians and their experience?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, I think I think it kind of can be just depending on the client and the just like the conversation that you're having with them. I always kind of try to just make it as simple as possible. And just keep it short and sweet. But I definitely, want to make sure, they understand like the cost and like what it's gonna be. And like there's even been times where like I'm not sure about what it's gonna cost with our insurance just from checking it because I'm not like super experienced in that. But a lot of times and then I'll like check with our biller. And sometimes she'll be unsure because sometimes it doesn't specifically say. So I'll kind of explain that situation. Like I double check with our billing departments. They're not 100% sure, but we're gonna go off our contracted rate, and but we're not 100% sure like what it's gonna be until we send the claim, they process it and send it back. Sometimes it could be lower. But it's obviously better to have like a higher upfront than not enough to where they owe money later on. So I mean that's something that can be helpful. I feel like just when you're not sure, just being transparent with that and then trying to, explain that. And I feel like it helps kind of build trust with them. They kind of trust you. Like if a lot of times I'll like follow up with the client after I hear back from Savannah like the next day because she leaves at 4. So a lot of times I'll she's gone when I'm talking to a client, and I'll just tell her I'm going to follow up with them tomorrow and let them know what's going on once I hear back from her. And yeah, I mean sometimes it's not going to work, but I feel like it definitely kind of helps them feel like they can trust you a little bit more, like you're kind of going the extra mile for them. So yeah, I think that definitely can help. And then yeah, when I've had times where it's like the client, may not have like the availability for what we have with the therapist, but I know Barrett has always been trying to say like, explain the value and, kind of see or tell them like why they would be a good fit with this therapist. And if there's any way, you can, take a somehow not do the most like opportune time for them. And it actually has helped a few times. It's not every time, but it's definitely worth a shot. And yeah, so that's something I'm kind of been trying to work on lately. Because we've had like 2 new therapists who are only doing telehealth, and their schedules are kind of weird. 'Cause they're only working till like 3 like Monday through Friday and just telehealth. So it was like kind of hard to get them the clients they needed. She did like open up like an evening spot on Thursday, so that's helping. But yeah, explaining the value can definitely be beneficial. But my approach is just to kind of keep it as simple as possible and try not to complicate things because sometimes when I get talking, I just start rambling and start confusing myself and the client. So yeah.
When you have new clinicians that join the practice, do you do meet and greets as the client care coordinator to kind of get a feel for the personality of the clinician to then have more of an understanding of pairing them with new potential
Mm.
clients?
So yeah, we actually did not. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I think it's a great idea. So like whenever we do hire someone next, I think that's what we're gonna do. And I talked to Hannah, the marketing person, and she thought that was a good idea. We do have them fill out like a get to know you form that has, they put all their like specialties and different areas of expertise and like their experience and what their like availability is and where they're going to be located and telehealth and just like all that. So like that's really helpful, and we put that on like our clinician info grid where you can kind of just see at a glance like what they have. But obviously it's still not like the same as having 10-15 minutes to talk to someone and just kind of see how their personality is and stuff. But I did when we were talking to Barrett last time about this, I did talk to Kelsey, um, who hired her, and she had like a meeting with her and gave me some good info on kind of like her personality and her specialty and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think we're definitely gonna do that next time when we hire someone else.
I think Lindsay finds it helpful. And you feel like it makes
Mhm.
a difference, like before meeting someone as opposed to after meeting somebody?
Yeah, I think also because I'm not in the same office as all of the clinicians, it's definitely helpful to even at least speak to them on the phone for a little before I have the chance to meet them at like a mutual event or like get together. Um, like I did that with Danielle and Liv, and I definitely feel like it helped for both, more so Danielle, but um, yeah. Because she told me about like her experience in like substance abuse, which like I had no idea. So I was like more comfortable giving her like couples where like that was an issue in their relationship. Like it was like a background for someone. Because like not everyone's interested in working with that or has experience or the knowledge to be able to help them. So yeah, it's definitely helpful.
So I have a question in regards to the intake process efficiency. And I think that we might be doing a workshop about this at the end of the month, or at least like in the next coming months. Just in regards to how each office's intake process works and how the intake coordinator, like when you feed a phone call or an inquiry, how you initially feed it and, who verifies the benefits, who checks for the availability, who screens the client to ensure that they're appropriate for the practice, and then who contacts the client back, books the client, and when do they do their paperwork within that whole process. From the last few sessions that we've had a few offices that are new to Mastermind, and everybody's process is so different that we
Sure.
thought it would be neat to kind of get a little bit of feedback from everybody's process and maybe areas that they would want to think about restructuring, or maybe taking ideas from each other and kind of sharing and providing like a workshop or anything. So I'm interested to hear from both of you if you feel that there is an area of your intake process that could be done a little bit more efficiently, or you're interested in learning how other offices do certain things, because then maybe you could take some of those tips and tricks and apply them to your office to better your process.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. Um, always up to here, see if there's any way to systemize it, make it more efficient, quicker. Um, yeah, I mean, right now it's pretty much just me or Hannah, who, reaches out to the client, talks with them, and basically we, make sure we're able to help them, see what they're needing, and we're able to help, and that, yeah, like that we have like someone that will be able to see them for what they're needing, and then when I'm on the phone with them, like I'll make them their patient portal, and that's where, and like I'll like have their insurance too. So like once I have all the information on the form and their insurance and everything, I'll put them on hold. It's only for a few minutes, and that's usually when I check the insurance and then make their portal and put all that in there, and then send them the intake forms, and then get back on off hold with them, and then tell them I made the portal, I sent the invitation to your email. Can you check and make sure you got that? It's titled Patient Portal Account Notification, and um, sometimes I'll try to have them just do it on the phone with me. A lot of times they don't really want to do that, or they can't or something. But it's always helpful just to, especially if they're like a little bit older, maybe not the best with like computers or whatever, to help walk them through it and just get all the forms done right then and there. Because I mean, we're not supposed to schedule intakes until we have all the forms done. So if we can get it all done right there on the phone and have the insurance checked and all the forms done and intake scheduled, then you're done with it pretty much. Uh, but a lot of times that's not the case. So once I make the portal, I tell them how to like log in, and that there's like a few forms on there to complete. And once those are all finished up, you can just call or text me on my phone number, and then we can get you scheduled. And then at that point, I'll move them to like paperwork sent on Practice Access, and hopefully, ideally, they get those forms done. A lot of times they don't or have trouble getting logged in, and they get stuck, and sometimes they'll reach out if they need help, or sometimes you don't hear from them again. But I'll always like follow up uh, like the next day, um, and see if I can get them back on the phone, or send them a text or something to see if they need help or anything.
Do you think people are more motivated to complete forms to get an appointment, or more motivated to complete forms because they already have their appointment? Like, like we always try and figure out, like, I think like Liam's office, like they were having a lot of problems where clients weren't completing forms. Our
Mhm.
office, we book the session and then have them fill out the forms. And your
Mhm.
office has them fill out the forms and then books the session. Like, do you find that you're spending a lot of time following up with people to complete the forms because they're not doing it, or, vice versa?
Yeah, definitely. I spent a lot of time following up with clients that aren't doing the forms. And it sucks when you're like, oh, it's a Medicaid, they want telehealth. Like, it's just, they just checked like anxiety on there, depression, and it's like a super easy schedule. Like I could, get it scheduled super easy. And, but yeah, sometimes they just kind of ghost you. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of time spent on reaching out to those clients. So yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, I think from what I've heard, Hannah, because she used to do client care before I was here, and I think they had a whole, like they used to schedule it before the paperwork was in there, and I think it just got to be a big mess. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but there was a reason why they made that switch, and yeah, but like if they're in like Somerset in the office, or and it's someone who's really not confident with computers, I'll sometimes just like say you can come into the office and do the forms in person. I'll print them out for you, and then we can just get it scheduled. Or sometimes I'll just schedule it and like have the paperwork ready and let the clinician know that like they haven't done the forms yet. We just need to have them knock them out before the intake started. Because like our paperwork's it's not that long. It's only like five pages. Um, so you can really knock it out pretty quickly. But yeah, I've also like mailed forms to people as well, which that just takes a very long time if you ever get those sent back. It doesn't happen too often, but yeah. Uh, I definitely like just the fact of getting the forms done in before scheduling, and then then they don't have to like come to the office and wait and do the paperwork or whatever. Because I know in my past, like I had an appointment and I had to do like, and I was like on my lunch break, and I only have an hour, so I got to the appointment, it was set at this time. And I had already done paperwork online, and then like they made me do more paperwork, and it's like the same thing, I guess, or maybe it's slightly different, but I ended up being like way over on my lunch break, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I really like how we do it with forms before, because then you just get there and you're good. But yeah,
Well, what about with scheduling? Because if you have a client fill out the paperwork and you say, oh, like we have a clinician on this day at this time, and then someone else who does paperwork sooner gets that appointment because they didn't fill out the paperwork, and then they're like, well, why'd you have me fill out the paperwork if there's no appointment? Like, does that happen?
it does. It does. It doesn't happen too often.
Mhm.
If it's like if like it's a case where I know I have multiple clients who need to see one clinician for, whatever reason, and there's the clinician's booked up, there's only a few spots left or maybe only one spot. Like I'm gonna hopefully I'll like recognize that. Usually I do, and I'll like let the client know like, hey, this is the time we
Mhm.
have, but uh, it's all based on just getting these forms done. There's another few clients that want this spot as well, so it's just first come, first serve. Um, so whoever gets the front forms done. So sometimes I just try to like make it as like a motivating factor,
Mhm.
which can definitely help, you know, instill some urgency in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's never a fun situation.
What about our process, Lens?
So we schedule the evaluation and then we send the paperwork. And we ask clients to have it done the day before their appointment by 2 o'clock, because that's when I leave. So if their appointment's on a Monday, it would be like the Friday before. If their appointment's on a Saturday, it would still be like the Friday before. But if they don't do it, we tell them like they're gonna automatically be rescheduled. Like they don't
Right.
come to the appointment unless we offer for them to do it in person at their appointment, but they have to come 15 minutes early to do
Mhm.
it, so it doesn't cut into their evaluation time. And then if it happens again, like they reschedule the next week and it's the same thing, we don't reschedule them until they do it. We say like, we're not rescheduling you, we're offering this appointment to someone else. Like if it's taken, it's taken. In order to secure your spot, like do the paperwork and then we can reschedule you. And so sometimes we have to do that, but usually people get it done either right away or like at the very last minute. So we also will give them some extra time if like it's 2 o'clock on a Friday and they have their appointment. Like I'll say, okay, I can give you till 5, and then Karen takes a look um, and sees if it's there or not.
So you feel like it does pretty well, like you don't have too much
I
chasing around clients and stuff.
I would say more often there's less conflict with that than I think there would be with having them do it before. Because when you said, oh, you'll tell the client that there's like other clients who want the appointment, I was thinking like, well, what if someone's just like, oh, whatever, then like I'm not even gonna bother. Because I feel like maybe I would do that, but I don't know if that's just like me or
Yeah.
so I think
One
like,
sec. I'm so sorry. There's someone at the window.
oh Oh, it's okay.
That's what I was thinking, like people who come for anxiety, and if they feel like they have to fill out the paperwork right away, or else they're going to miss their spot, and then they kind of freeze because they're so anxious that they just don't want to handle it. But
Yeah.
then I don't know. I don't know if it's like the chicken or the egg, what comes first, because whoever fills out their paperwork right away is clearly motivated to get the appointment. But then it's like the same thing on the flip side, and as well, if that person's motivated to fill it out. Chris, like we were just saying, we wonder if, say someone's coming for anxiety or, overwhelmed, dealing with stuff, and they feel like, oh my gosh, I have to fill out all this paperwork or else I'm going to lose the spot. And then they
Mhm.
freeze because they feel so overwhelmed. So then they don't do it. But then it's like the chicken or the egg, because
Mhm.
it's, if someone knows an appointment's coming, they want to fill it out right away because they're motivated. Or if they have an appointment and they're motivated, they're going to fill it out. I think there's always
Right.
like going to
Yeah.
be those few people that are just take up our time.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's I feel like it's yeah, kind of comes with the territory. So yeah, I definitely think it's I think both yeah, both ways works, and I think it kind of just depends on like your personal preference and kind of like your client base that the leads that you get and stuff, and how motivated they are. But yeah, like when I do that, like try to like motivate them or let them know like there's not. Hopefully, I'm not like making their anxiety worse or anything. I try to be super nice about it, and but yeah, and I also found just like when you're talking to someone on the phone, you have a good conversation, like you build rapport, and like you kind of get to know them, they kind of get to know you. Like I had some guy last week, and like we were on the phone for a really long time. I forget why exactly, but we had like time to talk, and he just kept asking me about me living here in Somerset because he had been here and really liked it and was like thinking about moving, and so like he basically like knows my whole life now. Uh, but like, yeah, he got his appointment done today, got the forms done, and so I think that can go a long way too. It's just when you build rapport and talk to
The
them, they
connection.
trust you, right? So
Is there
definitely doesn't work all
anything?
the time.
Yeah, I think both ways. I don't think like there's a right way and a wrong way. I think both ways work. And there's always going to be that percentage of stragglers that, we're following up on and so on and so forth. Is there anything that you would like to address or talk about in group to learn what other practices do, um, to help tips and tricks and efficiency for your own practice, or kind of just hear what other practices do with certain processes, things like that, that we haven't already discussed, or maybe we discussed, but you kind of want to talk about it more in detail?
Yeah, I mean, definitely more, just definitely interested just to hear everyone's process on their intake scheduling.
Hmm.
See how they go about that, and then. I mean, just like the insurance stuff, like that's something I kind of dread and not great with. So yeah, hearing how other people go about that with checking the benefits and explaining it to the clients, like I think that's really good. Uh, would be interesting to hear more on how that works. But I'm definitely open to like join a workshop or whatever and hear what people have to say.
All right. I don't think that that's for us. I think that's the next group. All right, cool. And Linz, what about you?
What was the question about finding out how other people do
Yeah, like,
intake?
is there anything you
Oh,
want to learn about,
um,
for other, what other practices do, or like specific where maybe it might help our practice to learn different ways?
Well, I think what we were talking about before with the insurance language, like how people go about describing that or not describing that. I think that might be helpful because I, obviously explained the way that I do it, but maybe there's a way to do it where they do understand and it's also vague. I don't know. Like
Okay.
where we explain it to them and they understand, but it's also
Are you guys using like Availity to check insurance? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we use Avality. We don't, I don't, we, oh, do we use anything else? Oh,
headway kind
oh
of.
yeah, Headway. We use Headway, Avality. And therapy notes can do verification as well. Um, but we have to pay for it. So,
Sometimes I'll call for clients if
yeah.
it's easy,
Oh,
like
Yeah, I've done
Sydney's
that. Yeah.
easy.
Barrett's logging
But
in. All right,
sometimes
we
I
have to
feel
go.
like the people don't know what they're talking about. Sorry.
All right, we'll finish this next time. So these people are coming, but that's what we're going to talk about next time.
Cool. All
All
right.
right,
See you
bye
guys.
guys.
Bye.